Hello and welcome to Kingston Now. I'm Jimmy Buff. This week we're on location at Keith Bennett's Karate Academy to talk about a good way to get kids off the street and into something positive. But before we get to Keith Bennett, we're going to talk to Janai McDonough about an idea she had and one that may be lost soon in Kingston about getting parents to take more responsibility for their children's actions. Hi, Janai.
Hi.
So we last saw you over the summer when you had sort of organized a grassroots movement to deal with some of the troublesome kids in your neighborhood.
Yes.
You approached the DA, you approached the Kingston Police Department, you had meetings, and you got results.
We
Just
did.
give us a brief recap of that.
We did. Over the summer, we had problems in our neighborhood with the juveniles committing crimes. Our neighborhood got together. We called a meeting between the police officers, concerned citizens. My living room was jam-packed full of people, including the DA's office, and terrific members of our police force. They stepped up patrols in our area, and we've actually seen families start coming back to the park over there. We've seen families come to play kickball together, and we hadn't seen little kids over there for a good year. Now families are picnicking there, they're enjoying the park, and it's calm and it's quiet, and they do patrols, and it worked. It really did work.
So from there, you decided to run for Common Council, and at the same time, you began drafting a law that is going to hold parents accountable for their children's actions. Tell me about that. What's the name of the law? It's
a parental responsibility ordinance, and it would be here in the city of Kingston. I actually started drafting it the night of the meeting, the initial meeting that we had. I had talked to DA Carnwright, and I had said to him, you know, what can we do? You know, all we keep hearing is these kids aren't 16, there's nothing we can do, and they don't get in trouble until they're 16. So, you know, I said, can we change the law? What's going on here? And he said, well, you know, you can try and change the law. And he said, it's going to be an uphill battle. And then that very night, I started doing the research on it. So it was before I even decided to run for alderman or before anything else, that very night, I flicked on the computer and started figuring out who else had this problem and took care of it. And could we do the same thing here?
So there were other communities that are doing this?
There are, not in the state of New York, not every single community. There are some municipalities that do have it on their books. I spoke to 15 people, 3 people from 5 different municipalities from the state of New York that do it. I talked to mayor or the town supervisor, I talked to the chief of police, and I talked to their common council. Each one said that they do have it on the books, they do enforce it, and it does work. Each one also said that, you know, it kind of gives the city a little bit more of a push. It lets people know that something's not working, and when something's not working, we have to figure out a way to fix it. Just saying, look, we want you to be more accountable for your children. We want you to be more responsible. Make sure you know where your kids are because, you know, they're getting into trouble, and some parents don't know. Some parents have no idea what's going on. Some parents do know, and they just don't want to do anything about it. They'd rather just turn a blind eye. And I think the ordinance is the city's way of being able to say enough's enough because we need to catch this now before they become the adult of the future that's committing these crimes. Because right now they may not be 16, they're going to turn 18, do the same thing, and you know they're going to get arrested for it. So I think it could work.
How will it work? What happens? Tell me a scenario. Give me an example. Well,
basically, it's not something that's telling a parent how to be a parent. I'm a parent myself. I would never want somebody to come in and say, look, you need to do this. So it doesn't infringe on parental rights at all. It's not something that's going to, if a parent's trying, they know their child's getting into trouble, and they're trying to get help for their child, and they're using the resources that are available in the community, they're using the services, it's not going after them either. It's basically the chronic cases where the parent knows what's going on and still does nothing. It's the cases where the parent knows that the child is getting into trouble and doesn't seek services. It's also a way for us to be able to have, our family court system is so overburdened right now. It's not working. I mean, these are the same kids over and over and over again. Some of them are already in the system, and it's not working for them. it's a way for us to say, you know, okay, here's a record of all the things these children are doing, and then give it to family court and say, look, they're in the system already. What you're doing isn't working. We need to find another way. Something else needs to be done.
So how do the parents get involved? What happens? How are they held accountable?
Well, basically what happens is if a child is in trouble within a 6-month time period, 2 or more times in 6 months, the parent is then held accountable. They're responsible for the child's actions because they either did nothing to prevent it or they knew about it and did nothing to prevent it. They spoke about fining, which I wasn't about doing the fines. That was a different conversation that had been going on about how much the curfew ordinance fine was. And somebody said $15 to $25. At the time, the Freeman had been there, and they took that as what we were talking about for part of the parental ordinance, but it wasn't. It was a completely different conversation. What I would like is for the ordinance to hold the parent accountable, but they have to do community service with the child. They're giving back to the community. They are reconnecting with their child. They are doing what a parent needs to do. I've found in so many cases, the kids, they want to spend time with their parents. They want to interact with their parents. If they get in trouble, if my child gets in trouble, then, you know, I'm going to go and wipe the graffiti off with my child because, you know, for one, I'm spending time with him and I'm showing him that this is not right. And together we're going to figure out a way to make it right. And I think that that's, you know, it's key. It really is. Being more interactive with them is key.
It's an extraordinary thing you're doing, going back to the summer, to running for Common Council, to actually trying to make changes like this.
Yes.
And there has been you know, there's a conversation that's been started, some pro, some con, but the best thing is that a conversation has been started, and that's terrific, Janai.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we'll talk with Keith Bennett about his long history of getting kids off the street and into his karate academy. This is Kingston Now. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Kingston Now. This week we're at Keith Bennett's Karate Academy, and with us now is Master Keith Bennett. Hi, Keith.
Hi.
Let's talk about kids in karate. Why do kids come to karate?
All kinds of reasons. You know, sometimes it's a vision of the parents. They wanted to do karate, so they put their children into karate. And then they end up taking it with their child here. So we're very fortunate. This is actually a family school, and what we try to do is encourage family ties through everyone training together. And, you know, we've been pretty successful at that so far. But there's various reasons children come to karate. Self-discipline, self-esteem issues, self-confidence. Some being bullied in school and picked on. ADD, ADHD, you know, autistic, all kinds of different reasons why children are brought here. Because we take everyone, and we've never turned anyone away.
You've been here in the Midtown area for what, 20 years?
22 this month. Actually, the 1st of October, it was 22 years, so we were pretty excited about that.
How have you seen the value of having a kid in here versus out on the streets? Just give me your overview of that.
In any martial arts program, depending on where they go, it depends on the instructor. A lot of it's all dependent upon the art and the instructor. Many times an instructor has had a background, whether education or militarily, that they also brought to the arts. Martial arts, martial means military. So therefore, you're instilling very traditional values in children, but in a fun, positive way. And we have a great time instilling those values. So respect, self-discipline, loyalty are the things that sometimes children are missing outside of our school. Yet when they come here, they don't have those things. We develop that over time, and we do it in a fun, positive way. It's not anything negative, it's just a good time. You know, if you set expectations, a child who's used to negative attention seeks negative attention. So we don't dwell on negative, we only dwell on the positive attention. And you can see as I say, everyone stand up, and everybody says, yes, sir. And you say, great job. Children will respond to positive much more than they'll respond to negative.
What kind of karate is practiced here?
Traditional Korean karate. You know, I can tell everyone the name, and I will, but everyone knows Chuck Norris.
They know that for sure.
Right, right. As you do, right?
Right.
Okay. And it's the same art, same style, and we came from the same grandmaster as Chuck Norris. The art is called Tong Soo Do, which means Chinese hand wei, And then the style, you know, that was original style was called Mudokwan. That's a school of virtue. We now are studying also Pyongando, which means peaceful confidence, because that's a style that I now teach.
There is a philosophy that goes along with karate in addition to the physical aspects of it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I'd like to a degree. What I discuss with the students is we're on boot camp all the time, pushing ourselves spiritually first, mentally, then physically. A lot of times children are obese or an adult is obese, and they think you can just go on a fad diet and that's going to work. What happens is we have to touch the spirit, you know. So I teach them what to read, ideas of what they can read, how to eat, and then, you know, what kind of good stuff to fill their minds with every day so they can walk more of a positive walk, to make whatever goals they need necessary in their life to make the change. If it's a child with self-discipline, you know, they can get a list to take home that says, make your bed, do your homework. You know, we have lists like that. We ask at times when the parents really need help. Then the parents bring that list back to Master Bennett every week so I can see it. And after 3 months, they go for a little testing. Now, if I don't see improved results, they don't test. So, but for the most part, I always see improved results. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, actually 36 years now.
So again, you've been in Midtown for a long time. And
Midtown, yeah.
We were talking a little bit before the camera started rolling about there's always this big uproar about, oh, Midtown, Midtown, and Midtown. And you really want to focus on what a good place this really is. Well,
what a good place this really is. You know, when I talk about Midtown, I talk about Kingston. I think Kingston is fabulous. You know, my whole idea of going into the martial arts myself was because of my childhood. My childhood was real hard and was in the inner city of Rochester, New York. So I saw a lot, and that's why I got so involved in Kingston with all the various, you know, charitable organizations and walking streets and saying hi to everybody. My thought is there's a lot of good work being done right now. And I hear a negative all the time. Sometimes we forget that there are a lot of organizations we can bring our children to. I'll say one, and that's Joe Fay with the Boys and Girls Club. Probably one of the best organizations in Kingston right now, as far as right there in Midtown. You know, and you got Big Brothers, Big Sisters. You know, and you have Darlene Kelly right there with the Soup Kitchen right on Clinton Avenue. I mean, there's so many great organizations. In addition to that, who's really starting to good work right now is Ismail Shabazz. He lives right down there, right in the hood, per se, what they call the hood, right down off Van Buren. And he just worked with the museum. They're rebuilding a Black History Museum right down off Henry Street. You know, I mean, so there are good things happening, yet there are also, conversely, is the other. And, you know, I think that is a project of society. So in other cities, I hear it's much worse. In Kingston, we do have it coming in. And I think, you know, hopefully with the future mayor, the change can come and we can get the walking beat going again. I heard Janai talking about, you know, how the police presence has already increased. I'm real happy about that. And I saw the same thing with Ismail with the museum. He had the police actually doing the cooking and playing football with the kids. They want to be involved. They're great people. We're very fortunate, to me, to have some of the best police officers are. Yet, you know, I've heard different things, and you know, somebody does something wrong, and so everyone is bad when that's not the case at all. There's a lot of great police officers. Kingston has some of the finest, and I believe that with my heart because I've been here 22 years working with them, you know, and they're great.
Have you had a kid who was just really troublesome come in?
I get a lot of kids that are real troublesome.
And you turned them around, and they turn around with your help, as it were?
We do it together, and with the parents as well. This is a collective effort.
Master Keith Bennett, thanks for talking today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking with me. And God bless all of you.
You're watching Kingston Now, and next we're going to check in with some of the kids and parents who make karate at Keith Bennett's a part of their life. This is Kingston Now, and we're at Keith Bennett's Karate Academy, and right now we're with Master Bennett in one of his classes.
You know, they're all great. We have business owners, children. We have children from just about everywhere in Kingston. You know, we have a very diverse group of people. Here it's not about social status. It's about just all of us coming together as a family, working together for rank, accomplishment, and the self-discipline and all the other values that we all learn here in class, including myself and the rest of us. They're my best friends, and I love them dearly, and we've, you know, some of them have been with me since we were 8 and 9. Right, Delinquent and Tyler?
Yes, sir.
All right, and James.
Sir.
Right? And Chris. Not 8 and 9, though.
Not quite that young.
Not that young. But we're very fortunate as to have the children and everyone here with this class. There's hundreds of students here, but this class was our, you know, 5:30 class, and I'm very excited to say, what a great group, huh? You saw them earlier.
They're great.
Yeah.
Now, who's been here the longest?
Raise your hands.
Who's been here?
James. Yep.
And who's been here? Who's new here?
The newest. Loren. You're not the newest.
What's your name?
Loren, my green belt.
Loren. And how do you like it being here?
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. How long have you been coming?
About 4 months.
Just 4 months, huh? And what have you learned so far?
Mostly self-defense and kicking.
Uh-huh. And how does it feel when you come and when you leave after class?
I feel good.
That's great. Is anyone up for a test soon? Is anyone going for a belt soon?
They all are in December.
Ah, okay. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. What's your name?
Xavier.
Xavier. And what are you going to be doing in December? Are you going to be taking a test?
Yeah.
And what are you going to be trying to do?
Self-defense, kicking,
Mm-hmm.
blocking, some stuff. Don't really know.
And how is Xavier doing, Master Bennett?
Xavier comes from a lovely family. They're doing fabulous. I'm very proud of Xavier. Xavier, how old were you when you started?
Maybe about like 4 years old.
Yes.
And how old are you now?
6.
Wow, it's almost a third of your life you've been coming here. That's pretty impressive.
His father's also a student.
And now Ashley is standing behind Xavier, right? And we were talking to Ashley before. You come how many days a week?
4.
And how long have you been coming here?
2 years.
Uh-huh. And what does it feel like when you come to class? Does it make you happy?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And when you leave?
Yeah.
Yeah? Does it make you tired? Is it hard to do?
Sort of.
Uh-huh. What's your favorite part?
Sparring.
And who do you spar with?
Other kids and stuff.
Uh-huh. You're not sparring with Master Bennett, are you? He's a little bit bigger than you.
I don't know. She's pretty good.
So what now? The class has ended, and is there any kind of warm down exercise? What do you send people out into the world with after a class ends?
And generally a positive message. As I discussed earlier, we talk about the mind, the body, the spirit. It's a boot camp kind of thing. So at the end of class, we leave with a positive message. It could be for the kids, concentration. For the adults, you know, staying positive and how to stay that way.
In just a moment, we're going to return and we're going to talk to one of the parents of the kids here at Keith Bennett's Karate Academy. Stay tuned. This is Kingston Now, and we're on location at Keith Bennett's Karate Academy, and with us now is Bernadette Baker, whose boy Cody is in the class behind us. Bernadette, tell me, when did Cody start coming to karate?
When he was 5, when he first started kindergarten at Robert Graves School.
Why? What prompted?
Discipline.
Oh, okay. So he's obviously a good boy.
He's a good kid, and he's done very well.
Uh-huh.
But I've been coming to Keith since he started boot camp years and years and years ago.
So you knew Keith prior to bringing your son here?
Yes.
And what has the experience been like for Cody?
It's been wonderful. For his mother, it's been wonderful because the discipline's there. He listens. All I got to do is say Keith Bennett's name, and it's like attention. And he really enjoys the class. The kids that come here, he's met a lot of good friends, and so it's great for both of us. So
now there's a sort of a parents section here. The
Yes.
parents are watching the class.
that didn't want to come here with and make me do this. Yes,
Exactly. You got voted.
I got voted as I walked through the door.
You got voted out of the parents section and into this chair.
Absolutely.
The what's the experience of sitting there with the other parents watching your kids go through this?
You know, watching them grow, the kids grow from like being so little, and they've grown so much, gotten so taller. Xavier's one. You know, his mom, I got really close to just for being here. I didn't know him prior to here. You know, you just meet so many neat, nice families who come for the same reason, because this is more like a family atmosphere. That, you know, and Keith's always there to help no matter what. So whether it's for his kids, for his families, or for any of the charities he does. So
there's sort of a socializing aspect to this as well.
yes, this is my social life. This is my social.
Do you have other kids?
I know, just my husband.
Uh-huh. And does he have a discipline issue that you're going to bring him here for?
I wish, yeah. I wish I could address that at his age, but I guess I'll keep with the 7-year-old.
So aside from the discipline stuff, what has Cody learned in the couple of years that he's been coming to Keith
Well, he's
Bennett's?
gone from a white belt to a red belt in 3 years.
Which is, explain that to people.
There's like, they test every 3 months, so there's so much for them to learn, and they just don't pass them. They make them work. You know, so from Cody's perspective, I mean, he just has so many people to look up to. You know, sometimes he thinks they're yelling at him, but they're just trying to teach him something. You know, and in the long run, it's going to be very beneficial to him.
When he gets a new level or a new belt, what does that do for his confidence, his self-esteem, his...
You know, he can't wait to get home and call his grandma and grandpas and his, you know, Sugar's, Dean's mom, his other grandma. But it's just, he looks at it, he's really looking forward to getting his black belt, which is going to take a long time. You know, it might take a couple, 2 or 3 more years, maybe longer.
Are you ever concerned about the fighting aspects? I mean, I know that is not what people come to karate for.
No, because Keith makes sure that
Right.
he puts that point across.
But they are learning to punch and kick.
Absolutely. But you don't do it in school.
Right.
You know, so between what I teach him at school and what Keith tells him, you know, you learn this for just to protect yourself. So, no, not really, no.
Well, it sounds like Cody's doing great in the school, and it sounds like it's been working for you too.
Yes, it has, very much so.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. That's it for Kingston Now this week. We'd like to thank Janai McDonough for joining us, Bernadette Baker, and Keith Bennett's Karate for having us. For more information about the school, go to KeithBennettKarate.com. I'm Jimmy Buck. See you next time.